All right, hello everybody. It is 4:16 a.m. in the morning, of course, here in the UK. I'm joined by Ali. How you doing, Ali? How you feeling?
Hi, hi Mo. I'm not too bad, thank you very much. How's everything with you? Looking forward to the fight.
Yeah, looking forward to the fight. Looking forward to the fight. Hopefully, it's a fight that's worth staying up for. It's obviously a very interesting fight. These two haven't
Mm,
seen each other. Triple G and Canelo haven't seen each other for a few years, so
yeah,
interesting trilogy for both of them.
for
How
sure,
do you,
for
how
sure.
do you see it?
Oh, I think it's going to be another interesting fight. I mean, it's only fitting that at the end of the first two, classic fights, it's going to be another classic, very close encounter. I predict that Triple G will probably outbox or outpoint, or basically outfight Canelo. But I think Canelo will get, and controversial as this sounds, I think Canelo will get the decision by the judges.
That's interesting. That's interesting. In terms of my own views, I
Mm,
agree with you with your last point in that I find it so unlikely that Triple G can win on a points-based victory. I just think
mm,
that for whatever reason, I know that we've had some good judgments lately in the boxing world, which have been surprising. Where we've
mm,
had like some impartial judgments where you actually think that they've scored it correctly. But I think it's really unlikely that Triple G is going to win on a points-based victory, even
mhm,
if he does outbox Canelo. So I definitely agree with you in that sense. I think for me, I think the only way Triple G can therefore win is by knockout or TKO, right? Now, do I think he's gonna outbox Canelo? I don't think so. Personally, I think he's a bit too old now. He's 40, which is I just don't think he's the type of guy who uses his jab as effectively as some of the
mm,
boxers who have been able to outbox Canelo before. He's the type of fighter who stands and kind of loads up, quite the power puncher. He kind of settles his feet. And so I just have a feeling that he's going to either get outboxed by Canelo just, or he, or if that doesn't happen, then either he scores a KO or TKO victory. So the only way I see this going is Canelo on points or Triple G through a KO or TKO victory. I don't see Triple G winning on points, and I don't see Canelo winning through a KO or TKO. I just think Triple G's chin is way too strong.
mm. I think that's a very fair statement to make, and something I'd like to think for the most part I would agree with. The part what I will probably disagree on is that I think Triple G could outbox Canelo. I mean, I think based on the first fight, well, both fights, but especially the first fight, I think Triple G outboxed Canelo. The way he was cutting the ring off, the way he was applying the pressure, the way he was landing, the amount of shots he landed, the power punches, the jab, the way he was. I mean, his jab was his by far like his best weapon in the first fight. So I think that Triple G could outbox Canelo, but he won't win on points because I
Mm.
think as much as impartiality is key to sport to boxing. I think realistically the judges won't allow that to happen. So essentially, what I'm saying is, if the judges were truly impartial, I think Triple G could beat Canelo on points, but realistically, he won't. I mean, that won't happen. The judges, in my opinion, will favor Canelo, and I think that as a result, Triple G's most realistic and his best opportunity to win would be through knockout.
Mm.
Although I do anticipate a knockdown this fight.
Oh, okay, interesting. So
I
as
think
far as I
something tells
recall,
me
none of them have knocked each other down
no.
in their
There was a
first or
slip.
second
There was a
fight.
slip in the second fight. There was a
Mm-hmm.
slip in the second fight, as in Canelo slip, but there was no knockdown.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, I mean, it would be really interesting to see either of them get knocked down, to be honest, because neither of them are the types of fighters that get knocked down at all anyway. They both have very strong chins. I mean, Triple
Mm,
G in particular, this guy always goes to war
mhm,
regardless, and he's happy to just take punches in the process of trying to knock the other guy out in all of his fights. His chin is something else, to be honest.
mhm.
Um, I'm just going to check some of the comments that have come through. So Harris is saying,
Sure.
Golovkin is washed. Wish him the best, but no way he wins.
Mm.
Do you guys think Canelo will want revenge on Bivol? And the judges will be playing on Golovkin's minds because of the previous fight, so he will try something new. I think these are all pretty good points. I mean,
Yeah.
in terms of the bit to do with the judges are playing on Golovkin's mind, I do agree. And I think this is what you and me are getting at, Ali, which is that,
Mm.
I mean, even if Golovkin outboxes Canelo, I don't see this man winning on points because I don't think the judges will give it to him.
Yeah,
Do
I
you
agree.
think he's washed?
I wouldn't say he's washed per se, as in, I think his so-called stock value perhaps has dropped because in the 4 years since their second fight, he's only fought 4 times and he hasn't really fought any huge names apart from perhaps Derevchenko, whereas Canelo has fought at least double, if not more than double the fights, and he's fought bigger names. But I just saw reading Harris's comments about saw him hitting the pads, but Golovkin's looking snappy. I think he's looking more snappy and more on it. And in regards to the other comment about the judge wanting revenge on Bivol, if anything, I think Golovkin would be going in with more of a reason for revenge because I think Golovkin would feel very much aggrieved for the loss in the second fight as well as the decision in the first fight. I think Golovkin's going to go in thinking, I've lost twice because I've been robbed twice. Even though the first fight was a draw, I think in his mind he'll be thinking, I got robbed. I want revenge. He went into the second fight thinking, yeah, I'm going to get revenge. Judges did him dirty again. He said, yeah, okay, I've been aggrieved twice. Let me fully go out. Let me go all guns blazing on this one. Let me really endeavor to take revenge on this in this third fight.
To be honest, that's what I want to see. Like I want to see Golovkin basically go for broke in a way. Obviously, I want him to box appropriately, and he will. He's not the type of guy who just slugs for the sake of it, right? He's obviously a sophisticated boxer. Technically, he's very skilled. He's not just someone who carries power and just tries to go to war. But in a way, I do think he needs a knockout. Like in my view, in order for him to win, he needs to knock Canelo out. I just don't, unless he completely dominates Canelo, which I don't think is possible, because Canelo will do just about enough for the judges to give him each round. So it's just he needs to knock him out. So it'll be interesting to see how he's prepared himself for this big fight, and
Yeah.
what he's going to do differently in order to try and score a knockdown. Harris saying, I don't want to see Golovkin getting dropped. Hope he puts up a good fight. I don't see Golovkin getting dropped in this. I mean, some people, if you look at some of the polls that are available, it looks like so David Diamante just announcing that the fight is going to start soon. It hasn't started yet, but if you look at some of the polls out there about how people are predicting this fight to go, there were more people suggesting that Canelo would win by TKO or KO than Golovkin would win at all. Period. Like there were more people suggesting that basically
Golovkin would win.
Canelo's going to drop Golovkin.
That's what I'm thinking as well. I think that as well.
Really?
I think Canelo will drop Golovkin. Something tells me Canelo.
But you
will
think
drop
Golovkin will still? But despite that, you think Golovkin will still outbox him enough?
Yeah, I think Golovkin could dominate this fight, and despite the knockdown, he will overall on the scorecards get better. I mean, he will get more points on the scorecards. As in, one round will definitely go in Canelo's favor, including the knockdown.
Do you think Triple G will drop Canelo at all?
I don't think so, but it depends on the first couple of rounds of the fight. That are very early rounds. If Canelo is looking nervous, or if he's looking nervous and Golovkin takes advantage of that, and he establishes that dominance, and psychologically that could play on Canelo's mind. And I think if that's the case, and Golovkin really takes advantage on that, I think I could see him dropping Canelo.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I mean, I think both these fighters carry so much power that anything's possible. Really, they could both deliver something that's powerful enough to knock each other down. So
Mhm.
it'll be. I am looking forward to this one. With these types of fighters, the trilogies that come out of these types of fighters are usually get unexpected results sometimes. You
Mhm.
see people get knocked out of some crazy punch that you didn't expect, and it's all
Mhm.
dramatic. And maybe we'll get something like that. I mean, I know Golovkin's he's always been talking about big drama shows, so maybe we'll get a big drama
Big
show
drama
tonight.
show.
Harry is saying, I hope Eubank does not pull out of the fight. I think referring to the Eubank Ben fight. That'll be a good one as well. I think we're going
Yeah.
to we might get together to
To
watch
watch
that,
it, yeah.
and then maybe provide a reaction afterwards or something like that. But it'll be a good one.
I think that depends entirely on Chris Eubank Senior. I mean, I could just imagine him saying, I do not wait for Christopher to fight. I do hope he engages in the third fight and concludes a great trilogy to the Eubank Ben fighting. I don't know. I love the way he speaks. I think with Eubank and Ben, it's just so ironic that they're complete polar opposites in how they
Contrast,
speak and
yeah.
how they,
Oh my
and
god,
it's
yeah.
just so perfect. Like it's just very enigmatic, very sort of, to an extent, polarizing figures. But it's just, what they say, opposites attract. And I think the way they attract and just create this sort of rivalry is just so perfect.
Yeah, that would be a great fight. It'll be a great fight. Harris saying, what was your opinion on the first two fights? Do you think Golovkin was robbed? I think he was robbed in the first fight. I think the
Yeah.
second fight was closer, so it could
I
have
agree.
gone Canelo's win the second fight. However, maybe not on the scores that the judges had provided, but I can see Canelo winning that second fight. So in a way, I see it as 1-1. This being like the third, so best of three basically. Would you agree?
I think Golovkin was robbed in both fights. The first fight, so much so, was far more clear cut than the second fight. The second fight was closer, but I think that I just saw the comment.
My favorite.
I don't recognize the name. TTM Boya. I don't recognize it, but thank you, appreciate it. I think the second fight was a lot more closer. And the reason why I say that, because in the first few rounds of the fight, I mean, Golovkin was just... Canelo stepped it up. As in, he was doing what Golovkin was doing in the first fight. Golovkin wasn't able to get into his element for the first few rounds, and Canelo stuck it on him. As the fight went on, Golovkin regained that dominance that he got in the first fight, and I think he was just going on. Overall, I think Golovkin did enough to win the fight, but it was a lot closer.
Fair.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Fine. Okay. So I mean, if Golovkin wins this fight as well, then you have him 3-0 up on this trilogy. Then yeah.
Yeah, I think this. And don't get me wrong. I mean, people say Golovkin is washed up, and I can see why people may think that. Even though I disagree with that, I don't think he's fully washed up per se. But Golovkin is still no joke. It's not like he's dropped massively. He's still a huge, very big name, especially within the middleweight division. And I don't think people should count him out just yet. I mean, he's not like, with all due respect, someone like Joseph Parker. Joseph Parker, after the loss to Joshua, I mean, he still sort of, in my opinion, at that time, he was within that particular bracket of fighters, that you could say so-called A side of fighters. But when he fought White and he lost to White, I think that just he dropped massive further and further, and I feel like it's very difficult for him to come back up. And I think Golovkin is at that stage where if he loses again to Canelo, I think his stock's going to keep on dropping, and he won't be able to be, as big of a name as he was a couple of years back during his peak. Which is a shame, because I think Golovkin's very dominant. I think I mean, both fighters are both will be all-time greats, and post-retirement, they'll definitely be inducted into the International Boxing Hall of Fame. So
it's a big fight. It's a big fight for Golovkin. If he wins this, he gets all these belts back as well.
Yeah,
all the super middleweight belts on the line. He's back. He's fully back into the division. You know, he's gonna
Hmm.
he's the man. He's the man again.
I think.
If he doesn't, you know, as you said,
Mm,
what I mean, what's next? His stock won't his stock will go down, of course, right? So
yeah.
I mean, ideally, if you're a boxer at the top of your at the top of your craft, at the top of your division, you want to be the guy with the belts who's got the big fights. You don't really
Hmm.
want to be competing in lesser fights and being like someone else's test.
Hmm.
Some young and up and coming fighters test fight or something. You don't want to be that guy.
Hmm.
So um,
I don't think Golovkin will drop too far down. I mean, he's 40 years of age, so I don't think he's got many years left. But I mean, he will be fighting. Like, I think the lowest level he will go is probably, with all respect to a Chris Eubank Jr. sort of level. I mean, once Chris Eubank Jr. starts to progress and builds back up, I think he will. That's the lowest he will go. I don't think he will become a complete sort of. I don't think he will become a Bermain Stavern or a Charles Martin, where they just suddenly drop from that world title fight to just right to the bottom. Having
yeah,
said that, I was about to say
that would
something.
be an interesting fight as well. To be fair, Eubank Golovkin, that would be interesting.
It depends. And I still think Golovkin will absolutely destroy Eubank.
I agree.
Absolutely destroy him. You know what's interesting about this fight? This is the first time, from my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, the first time that in Golovkin's career he's moving up to super middleweight. Whereas this weight, the super middleweight division, is something that Canelo has become quite accustomed to recently. So
I
I think
think
that psychologically, that
you're right. You're right. He's mostly been yeah. I
Mhm.
think Golovkin's only fought at middleweight, and obviously Canelo went as far as light heavy with the Bivol fight, right? So
that's something you
um,
have to give him credit for. To be honest, he's chasing the fights that he's not really a natural weight for that.
mm. But both fighters really, both fighters are chasing fights that they're not natural weights for, and that's
Hmm.
respectful for both of them. Obviously, Canelo used to fight at yeah a lower weight than I'm pretty sure he used to fight at lower weight to middleweight earlier on in his career.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I remember he had a Mayweather fight, for example, and I know Mayweather fights at welterweight, but I think they fought slightly above welterweight for that
I
fight.
remember when I
Um,
first started hearing about Canelo, he was in the welterweight division. Then he
yeah,
moved up to like the
exactly.
light middleweight, then the middleweight. I thought he was naturally sort of like a welterweight, but he's I mean, there's reports and always stuff him about him being on steroids or having some sort of this or that. I mean, I'm not saying it's right because no one can guarantee, but I think it's something that makes you think: how can you move up 4 or 5 weight divisions so quick and win world titles so in such a dominating fashion? I think he took a step too far with Bivol,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
because that guy fights sort of within that weight
Weight
category,
category. Yeah, yeah.
category. Whereas this is, I think, Canelo's first fight at light heavyweight, so it's a bit of a mad one.
Hmm.
But it'll be interesting. Seeing Harris' comments about AJ versus Fury thoughts. I like both fighters, but I think AJ is tailor made for Fury. I think AJ is
Yeah,
tailor
no,
made
you
for Fury.
mentioned that,
Fury
which is
will
interesting.
pick him off.
Yeah, I think Fury would. I wouldn't say he'd batter AJ, but I think Fury would win that fight. Yeah, I think he'd win that fight.
Agreed.
Height, reach advantage,
Hmm.
unorthodox type of fighter, but also very good technically,
Hmm.
and he's learned how to utilize his power as well. And AJ's chin is not the strongest, so I don't think AJ is going to be able to win that fight. Nevertheless, very interesting fight, and hopefully the fight we'll be
Hmm.
able to see if they do manage to lock it down for December, and we'll be
Hmm.
off to Wales.
Hopefully, boy, we can hopefully go to Wales watch the boxing fight. Any Welsh viewers, anyone who ends up watching this video, like, please let me know. Like, if the accent was on or right was.
Yeah. So both fighters in the ring now.
Yeah,
I think they're gonna hopefully get
Canelo's
going.
walking in now.
Yeah, yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how Golovkin fares for this third fight without Abel Sanchez.
Mm,
I mean, they had beef. previously, as in Abel Sanchez said, Golovkin something was like greedy and got too arrogant or something like that. But at the same time, he previously said he's a humble guy. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes. And I think, to be honest, Canelo's demeanor has changed over the years as well, from being that quiet, humble person to just being arrogant. I mean, even now, you saw on the big screen that he said, "What the f have you done these past few years?" That's not something you're really accustomed to. It makes you think, why are they acting up? Why are they suddenly getting all, vulgar in how they speak?
Yeah, both of them are traditionally have been very respectful fighters. You know, and Golovkin's always been respectful, to be honest, and Canelo as well has been pretty respectful. Hasn't really done the kind of the trash talking. Neither of them have really been the biggest trash talkers. So, I mean, is there bad blood, or are they just trying to talk up the fight? Who really knows, right? I mean, a trilogy. I'd like to see what the pay-per-view numbers are going to be for this one, but I can't imagine it's going to be anywhere near the first fight pay-per-view.
Oh yeah. Agreed. Agreed.
And then even the second, I think. So this will probably do less than the first and second. So maybe it was also to try and add further spice to the fight. I don't know if these two really hate each other, to be honest.
Nah. I don't think they do. I think they dislike each other because I think both of them find each other irritating in the sense that Golovkin will feel aggrieved based on the first two fights, and he thinks like, "What the hell? Like, I should have won those first two fights." And he thinks Canelo, it just gets the favored decisions, whereas Canelo will be thinking, "This guy is like a genuine threat to me. Like, I'm already upset with the bivol. I've taken a stock loss from my recent loss. So I don't want this guy who poses a genuine threat to me to potentially harm me any further." So he sees him as a threat. But I think they have a lot of mutual respect for each other. Both, like I said, I mean, they're both going to be all-time greats, and there'll always be that respect. It's not like I don't think they would hate each other genuinely.
Yeah, I agree. Harris with the comment. Canelo ring walks put me to bed. To be fair, Canelo is I don't know about you. I don't find him particularly entertaining outside of the ring. As in, he's obviously a massive favorite and very popular amongst obviously his Mexican fans who absolutely adore him. But personality-wise, he obviously, and that's fine. Obviously, he's a boxer. He's not supposed to be an entertainer. He obviously doesn't carry the same level of entertainer value as, for example, Tyson Fury, even Deontay Wilder, even Floyd Mayweather when he was in the boxing scene.
Deontay Wilder is not an entertainer.
I mean,
Deontay Wilder is not an entertainer.
The type of stuff that he says is that is entertaining. I mean, does Canelo have meme value other than payday? You want payday? And what else? I mean, and like jokes about injected,
cow beef
and stuff like that. I mean, otherwise, not particularly high on the entertainment value spectrum. I mean, obviously, don't get me wrong, he's a cash cow, right? No pun intended,
I still think he's a golden boy.
Yeah.
He's a golden egg.
Yeah. But I mean, to the average fan who wants to see some kind of like, I don't know, additional character to kind of, that's entertaining, not particularly entertaining outside of the ring, to be honest, from my experience. I mean, if you compare him to like Fury, completely different.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. I mean, the closest person, I mean, in terms of world boxing, who has any sort of character outside the ring. I mean, aside from Tyson Fury, I'm just trying to think. AJ, not so much. Usyk, no. Chisora, maybe. Chisora, yeah, actually, I would say he's an entertaining person. He would give you something. Dillian White, Chris Eubank.
Yeah, Ben. Throw Ben in as well. Then you know what I mean.
Who else? I can't think of anyone else, to be honest. Someone who basically, essentially, aside from boxing, you'd want to spend a day with, or have dinner with, or just chill with. I think they're not people who would be funny per se. People you'd find entertaining. Amir Khan. Does
Yeah.
the talk because he's Mexican, he's got a lawyer. That's true, you know. But we're not saying in terms of who's the better boxer or who's the best boxing. We're saying their personalities outside of the ring. So
To the English language viewer, maybe he's super entertaining to the Mexican viewers
mm.
when he's speaking in Spanish. The thing is, Canelo's English is great. You know, as
oh
like he's
yeah,
got really good English. Um, I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, it's boxing anyway, right? It's
mm.
not necessarily, strictly speaking, character-based entertainment. This is about boxing ability. He's obviously a great boxer, and it's
Oh
entertaining to
of
watch
course.
these fights, not because of their character, but because
Hmm.
obviously of the boxing ability. But yeah, I'm just kind of was deconstructing Harris's comments on this ring walk, putting him to bed. I just thought it'd be interesting to think about these guys simply in their kind of in the way of their characters, I guess.
Mm.
Uh, but I liked Golovkin's personality personally for like several years. I just thought he was interesting, different, because you don't get fighters out of Kazakhstan.
Yeah,
So
that's
that's
true.
one thing.
You don't get many
Uh,
Asian fighters, to be honest. And one thing I've noticed is that I mean, this is no guaranteed set rule, but I've noticed that a lot of the Asian fighters, whether from Pakistan, India, the Arab fighters, or from the Central Asian region, they tend to be more humble, quiet. I don't know if that's just maybe just a cultural thing, or maybe because of their lack of, or in comparison to like the Western fighters, their English is not as good, so they think, let me just sort of be polite, quiet, and they always carry themselves in. This is why I really love Golovkin, because his personality, how he conducts himself, is not just an excellent sportsman. I
mm,
think as a person as well, he's very humble, respectful. I mean, we saw in the second fight. You see, do you remember the slip Canelo made, and Golovkin was close to hooking him? He
mm,
literally stopped and he shook his head. No, I'm not going to hit him. So he has a lot of respect, self-respect, and that's what's needed. And I always have a spot for these people, not just in boxing, but in any combat sports. I mean, we've seen it with Khabib as well. Very polite, respectful. They're about their business. They go in, they do their job. They, just for want of a better phrase, they smash everyone. Then they come out very respectful and polite. I mean, we
yeah,
see it with Usyk, very polite,
yeah. I was
respectful.
about to say
He's
Usyk.
an animal when he does his job. Absolute animal.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. Yeah, there seems to be a cultural thing there, to be honest.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I do find that the I think American fighters, maybe it's the culture try and play off more on the trash talking and all that kind of stuff. To be fair, but obviously you get anomalies to the rules on both sides,
Of
right?
course,
I
of
mean, if you
course,
look at
of course.
I mean, for example, on the eastern side, if you think of, I don't know, Pulev, I
Yeah,
think
yeah, yeah, yeah,
he
yeah.
wasn't as
Hmm.
necessarily respectful, but
Hmm.
obviously is on the kind of more eastern spectrum of the world
Hmm.
in terms of boxing. Um, and then I don't know if you get like some of the Garcias, they may be kind of American or Mexican American, but they're
Yeah,
pretty respectful generally. Or say
I
the
think
Smith brothers, very respectful.
mhm. Anthony
Uh,
Joshua as well. I don't think he engages in as much trash talk as, say,
no, no, yeah.
Tyson Fury. As in,
Oh
he may
no,
engage in
Fury.
the odd occasional thing, but I mean, for the majority of his career, he's been even with the Usyk fights, he's been very much polite, respectful. But obviously, when things don't go his way, when he really gets irritated, he would speak up.
Yeah. So
But yeah,
both
I agree with
fighters
that.
now,
Really. Yeah.
both fighters about to fight. I
Hmm.
think
Hmm.
I'll start with the first round. Hopefully our streams will be synced. Um, but
Yep.
yeah, we can check in with each other and see where we are in terms of timing.
Yep.
Hopefully it'll be relatively synced. We're watching this on DAZN. For those
Yeah.
of you who are wondering, costs £10 and the fight is underway. Right, so both fighters just kind of feeling each other out. No punches thrown, jab thrown by Triple G there. Canelo with a wild left hook that missed
Yeah,
him.
I saw that. A wild miss.
Yeah, both fighters jabbing each other at the same time. They're both looking super focused and alert. Nice jab by Triple G, followed by a jab by Canelo. Canelo again with like a swinging right hook that doesn't really do much. I wonder why he's doing that.
As in the first maybe 1-2 rounds, they always feel each other out. But I think so far that they're more intense. I mean, the opening minute or so of this fight, it's more intense than the opening minute of the first round of the first two fights. So
Oh
I think
yeah,
they need to be careful and conserve their energy.
yeah, and you
Otherwise, they'll
see
get
Canelo
left out.
throwing a bunch of hooks that are kind of missing quite wildly in some respects and having no
Oh,
real effect. Again with another left hook thrown by Canelo, which Golovkin does a good job of staying out of reach from. Um, I'm sure Canelo's doing this for a reason, and he's trying to maybe set something up. Maybe he's trying to get
mhm,
Golovkin used to the swinging right hook that he keeps throwing, so that he can do something else.
mhm,
Um, but yeah, some pretty wild punches being thrown by Canelo in this first round.
mhm,
To be fair, Golovkin yet to really throw power punches. He's just been jabbing.
mhm. I
Another
think
wild left hook thrown by Canelo. Go ahead, Ali.
I think Golovkin is conserving his energy, testing him out, getting a feel for Canelo, trying to tire him out, trying to outmaneuver him. So Canelo is more active this round, but I think Golovkin is more calculated, and we've seen that in the first two fights.
Yes, and I would say that Golovkin has probably been more accurate in terms of punches landed, whereas Canelo's, in terms of volume of punches, has been higher. So a bit more activity from Canelo, but I think Golovkin has, generally speaking, been connecting more than him, but throwing much less, like much less. Um, and maybe that's part of the whole age thing. He's 40. He's not no point for Triple G to be gassing himself out in the first round by throwing a bunch of hooks. He's obviously going to wait patiently for the right time to throw his power punches, I'm sure. So
Mm. It's
15
just
seconds
so.
left in this first round.
Oh,
Nice
I think it's
jab
so
by
beautiful.
Triple G.
I think it's so. Just on the topic of Triple G's jab, it's so beautiful watching him jab. You can tell it's got power, but he does it so quick. But you can see at the end how he leaves it out there. It's mesmerizing watching. It's one of my most favorite jabs, in my opinion, in world
Yeah,
boxing.
yeah, and he's been very accurate and also snappy jabs from looking at it. So first round, who do you give that to?
I'd say Golovkin.
Same. Yeah, 10-9. I think I give that to Golovkin.
Mhm. I think
Um,
it's fairly close because Canelo was more active. So as in more, some people will probably give it to Canelo in that respect. But I think in terms of who who controlled that round, who landed more, Golovkin.
I agree. Yeah. I think Golovkin was more accurate, Canelo more activity, a bit more aggression. So it really depends how the judges are seeing it. If they favor the aggressor, then here's what it is. Nice to see Joe Rogan next to Dave
Yeah,
Chappelle in the crowd.
you can tell that'll be
These
the
two.
perfect person to sit next to if you want some laughs.
All right, second round already underway. Let's see if Canelo will be a bit more kind of measured in
Mhm.
this round. No, ooh, nice left jab thrown by Canelo there. Oh, and another left hook thrown by Canelo, but Golovkin just staying out of reach, just kind of brushed against him. Nice jab by Golovkin to the body. Another jab by Golovkin.
Light one.
Another jab thrown by Golovkin. Canelo with a jab. Golovkin doing a nice job of just jabbing
Yep,
to Canelo's body, really.
I think so
Oh, a
far.
nice jab there that snapped Canelo's chin back
Nice
a bit.
dodge as well. Very good dodge as well by Golovkin. I think so far Golovkin's winning this round. I mean,
Yeah, and
still.
a wild left hook thrown by Canelo that missed there, followed by I think what was it, overhand right, which also missed.
Missed as well.
Yeah, nice snappy jab by Golovkin. Golovkin definitely doing a better job of landing and not getting hit, really, which is obviously
Hmm.
the main premise of boxing here. It'll be interesting to see how he ties in some power punches, though, because as we were saying at the beginning of this fight, before the fight started, I don't see Golovkin winning on points. So
But I
In
mean,
terms of on the judges' scorecard, that is.
mm, no, I agree with that. But at the same time, Golovkin is someone who starts slow. I mean, we saw it in the second. I think it was the second. Well, both fights, but especially with the second fight, he started off slow.
You're
Yeah,
right.
actually,
He
yeah,
was.
with the second fight, first couple 3 rounds or so, Canelo, turned it up on Golovkin, whereas Golovkin got into his element as the fight went on. And I think because Canelo has been more active so far in these opening 6 minutes, these 2 rounds, he's gonna gas out quicker, which would give
Yeah.
time for for Triple G to get into his element and start to dominate the way we're used to seeing him dominate. So I think he's maybe one more round for him to essentially give Canelo a bit of string before he starts to reeling him in, like baiting him before he starts reeling him in.
Yeah, nearly half a minute left of this second
Mm-hmm.
round, and yeah, I'm leaning towards giving this one to Triple G as well,
Same.
unless something different happens. And you are absolutely right in that I think it's Golovkin's style with his fights generally. He obviously starts off a bit slower, takes his time, and then he starts incorporating those power punches. And he has a really good way of dismantling his opponent slowly as the fight
Mm-hmm.
progresses.
Mm-hmm.
I think Golovkin's doing better right now.
Yeah, I agree.
There you go. Second round is over. I'm giving that 10-9 again in favor of Golovkin. It's really about accuracy here so far. Canelo with some really wild hooks, which is surprising. Unless there's a specific reason for it, it's slightly surprising because he's really lacking accuracy that I would have expected from him.
Yep.
Let's see what it's looking like in terms of damage, because it looks like there's already a bit of swelling over on Golovkin's right eye.
Yep. Yep. On the right side of his cheek there.
I wonder what was
Yeah.
whether that was caused by a hook or a jab. Let's see. Oh, they're going to show a slow-mo now. Here's the left hook.
I think it's a culmination of punches and the hooks. I mean, Canelo is known for his hooks, very lethal with his hooks. But I mean, let's see how this pans out.
Yeah.
I think Canelo is a bit nervous. I think the pressure's starting to get to him. And I think he's going for a knockout too quick.
Yeah. He's getting a bit too impatient. He's getting a bit too impatient. But the tactic of him getting impatient has worked sometimes.
It does, but it depends on your opponent, because if you're fighting,
that's not the approach you
take. Yeah, but that's not the approach you take against someone like Golovkin. Golovkin's got knockout power in either hand. Saunders is a very good technical boxer. He's not really renowned for his power, but he's more known for his technique. Whereas Canelo is also known for his technique, so they could kind of match each other in that particular department. Whereas Triple G is a monster. He will knock you out. So you've got to be very, very, very careful with him. And I think, like Harry said, he's desperate to prove a point after his loss. I agree with that.
Yeah, I think I do think Canelo's having a better round this round so far, though, and he might win this round. He did land a really good left hook, and Golovkin did tie him up afterwards, which may mean that he was slightly hurt by it, but I mean not significantly hurt, but it must have obviously he felt that hook, and I think Canelo's having a bit more success with these hooks now.
I think there's a cut on above Triple G's head at the top. Is that? I don't know.
He's getting marked. He is getting marked. You see a bit of bruising or
on top of his right eye,
somewhere over his right eye. And there you go. There's another nice jab by nice little combo by Canelo there.
Triple G's got to be careful, because if that ends up being a cut and it starts to bleed heavily, the referee will stop that. And again, this is reminiscent of the first fight, because I've noted so far from this fight, Triple G's been the center of the ring.
Yes.
Now, we saw Canelo being backed up against the ropes.
Yeah, 40 seconds left this third round.
Yeah, I'll give this one to Canelo so far.
So I agree. He's a bit more accurate now with these these punches. He lands some nice hooks. Seems to be stalking Triple G in these last 20 seconds. Nice little jab to the body by Triple G though. I mean, so far Canelo looks like the more powerful of the two in terms of these power punches, but we haven't really seen many power punches thrown by Triple G yet, so we're yet to know. And Triple G with a left hook that misses before the bell rings. That's a Canelo round.
Easy. I think it will be fair to do so. I mean, to say so.
Yeah. So now it's we both have Golovkin up by 1.
1/4 of the fight done. You know.
Yeah.
Side topic, but I mean, I don't know about you. Whenever I think of 45 minutes, I think that's a very long time. Whereas when it comes to boxing, it's just quick.
I was literally about to say it's so weird how quickly rounds go in boxing.
It's time.
You know it. It's already like the round is already over. You know what I mean? Like
exactly.
It's crazy.
Exactly.
It's crazy.
Exactly.
And they train months. So well, sometimes weeks, sometimes months for these fights. It's just over just like that, man.
Oh, he's got bruising on his right side. His face is going to swell up. Golovkin. You can see above his right eye and on his right sort of cheekbone.
Yeah, 4th round underway now. And that's the thing, that's the thing about Canelo, which you have to give him props for. Sometimes you don't know whether what he's doing is having effect, but then somehow you then later realize that his opponents are getting bruised up. And you're thinking, oh, actually, these things are landing. They're definitely landing. So
that's actually very true. So far, doesn't really seem to be a mark on Canelo's face, but
yeah, there's no real marks on Canelo's face, to be honest. Let's see what Golovkin's going to do to try and change this fight, because I think Canelo's coming up pretty strong in this 4th round as well.
Yeah, I think so far Canelo seems. I would give it to Canelo. I mean, it's only a minute in.
Yeah. Wild left hook thrown by Canelo there. Golovkin trying to pop the jab, but Canelo coming forward with some kind of combinations, leaning in with that left hand and then going to the body with the right hook. Golovkin with a little 1-2 that misses, and Canelo also just coming in again with that left hand and following it up with the right hook.
This is easy so far, Canelo's round so far.
Yeah.
Easily.
Yeah, he's having some success.
Very aggressive, but very controlled aggression, controlled dominating aggression.
Yeah, and Golovkin is not going to want another one of those types of rounds, because then Canelo might start really taking over the fight in terms of starting to dominate a certain period of this fight, which he definitely wouldn't want, because he'll start building momentum. So left hook thrown by Canelo there. I don't know if it landed very flush.
I think it landed. I think
Golovkin, of course, taking it because he's got such a good chin, but he's kind of exhaled quite heavily there, Golovkin. He's obviously taken a lot of damage, but still unmoved. But it isn't good in terms of winning the round. Less than a minute left this 4th round, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be Canelo's round unless Golovkin does something quite special.
I think this is easy Canelo's round. I think between the 4 rounds so far, this has been the most clear cut in terms of in favor of either fighter.
Yeah. I agree. I think Canelo's dominating this round, to be honest, generally speaking. I mean, what is Golovkin going to do, though?
We'll see how it pans out.
Yeah.
10 seconds left. You see, I think at this point, this is where Triple G, if it ends up being a points decision in terms of Canelo's favor, I think this is where Golovkin made the mistake, because it's 4 rounds in, a third of the fight. And I think had he applied himself, for the last 2 rounds, especially the 3rd round, he would have been 3 rounds up, and it would have been very difficult to make a decision against Golovkin. But now it's equal, and if it's equal based on how they fight, and we've already established the judges will naturally be in Canelo's favor. So I think they'll side with it more. They'll use that as an excuse. Oh, he dominated. It was half, and
I agree. I don't. There's no way Golovkin's winning this fight on a points based decision. So I mean, I'm sure he knows he needs a knockout or a knockdown or something like that. Because he's Canelo's won the last 2 rounds, at least on our unofficial scorecards here. Moving into the 5th round, he might start really building momentum and just continuing to win rounds. And it won't be possible for Golovkin to catch up, especially on the judges' scorecards.
Golovkin needs to start putting that pressure on again.
Yeah, you see slightly more urgency from Golovkin.
Yep.
I think at the start of this 5th round, he just landing the double jab.
Now Canelo's got him. Canelo, I mean, I know I saw the first couple of jabs that Golovkin did, but Canelo countered that. Now he's back on the front foot. He's hunting Golovkin down.
Yeah. It's always very interesting to see Golovkin in this position because I'm so used to his boxing record involving him just stalking people and just taking them out one by one. But it just shows you the caliber that Canelo is as an opponent as well.
I don't think Golovkin is fighting with that same urgency. He's risking it. Even if he ends up doing much better in later rounds, if he loses these couple of rounds because he's not aggressive or he's not stalking Canelo down, as we're so accustomed to seeing Triple G doing with other fighters, he's burying a hole for himself. He needs to just apply that pressure because right now I think the momentum is in Canelo's favor.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. 1 minute 30 left of this 5th round.
Who would you give it to so far?
I'd give it to Canelo so far.
I'm not sure. This is a mixed one, but probably slight edge to Canelo.
Yeah, I mean, he's having a slightly more sloppy round, Canelo, compared to the previous ones. However, I think he's doing just about enough to win this round so far. I wonder if he's getting tired. Probably not. Oh, look at that unofficial scorecard by Chris Mannix there.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
4 rounds.
That's absolutely ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous.
But
there is no way. There is no way he's won all 4.
You can imagine the judges are doing that as well, though.
It's ridiculous. This is absolutely a joke.
Little rock potentially, but I think Triple G's okay. But he did take a body shot by Canelo and kind of step back a bit. He seems fine though. Overhand right by Canelo.
Yeah, Canelo
by left hook,
round.
Which
Canelo has this round.
Yeah, he's the thing about Canelo is he seems really comfortable throwing his power punches without necessarily feeling as if he's going to get countered. And I think that's partly due to maybe Golovkin's fighting style, where he's more the type of fighter that plants his feet before he lands those power punches. That's the end of that 5th round. I mean, it's
Canelo.
It's Canelo round, isn't it?
Easy.
So Canelo up by 1 on our unofficial scorecard.
Yep. I think he should not have broken up with Abel Sanchez. He should not have already, man.
Already thinking about his breakup with Abel Sanchez. Do you think he's lost his fight at this stage? As in, do you think in the next 20 minutes we're going to see Canelo's hand getting raised?
Yeah.
Do you think the fight's already lost?
I think so. If the fight carries on like this, yes, without a shadow of a doubt. I'm not a gambling person, but if I was, I'd bet everything I have and everything I don't have. Put it that way.
Yeah. Golovkin needs to. I mean, I know we're only into the 6th round, but there's urgency. There's a lot of urgency now. He needs a knockdown or something. He needs some good rounds.
Even if Golovkin turns on the burners now, even if he ends up winning a couple of rounds, I think the judges will not sway in his favor. That's why I think when I say he will lose it, Golovkin may not actually lose the fight per se, but the judges will gift it to Canelo.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. So he can't win this. He can't win this fight. On the judges' scorecard, that is. Yeah. So
Unless he absolutely dominates,
yeah,
unless he absolutely dominates Canelo from now up until the end of this fight, like
which
clear cut domination.
which we ain't gonna see. We ain't gonna see.
Yeah.
And do you think Triple G's in danger of getting knocked out now? He's suffering a lot of he's getting caught. He's getting caught
I
quite a
could
lot.
see it. I could see maybe
Canelo looks like he wants a knockout as well.
he does.
He's
Oh,
he's
without a doubt.
stalking he's
Without
stalking
a doubt.
Triple G. He's throwing those overhand rights, throwing those left hooks. He's throwing power punches
Hmm.
very frequently.
I mean, we
Um,
could see the power punches landing. 35% landed it did compared to Triple G's 24%.
that's crazy. And also Canelo throwing 71 to Triple G's 46 power punches.
Hmm.
You see, it's just way more output.
I don't think there'll be a knockout. I think there will be a knockdown, like I said, like I predicted. I think Canelo will knock down Triple G. At that point, we may as well just end this stream because the fight will be in Canelo's favor. I'm joking. Don't end the stream, guys. Please watch. Get on and watch.
Oh, nice jab there by
I
Canelo.
mean, the scorecard the guy gave for Canelo was absolutely a joke, absolutely stupid. I hate people who give
You in the
who
first
follow.
fight?
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
no, just now when you saw it a few minutes ago.
Oh, that. Oh,
Full
yeah, yeah.
favor. Absolutely ridiculous. I mean, to be honest, when I watched the Canelo Billy Joe Saunders fight, I I, I would have had Billy Joe Saunders up by maybe 1 or 2 rounds maximum. But I
We
would
had
have
Billy
had.
Joe up at the time.
But the scorecards at that point showed Canelo up by a few rounds.
Yeah, yeah. Crazy, crazy. Um,
Absolutely, like, it's shocking. The state of the judges, absolutely embarrassing. I don't
yeah,
know where they get the judges' licenses from.
yeah. 10 seconds left this sixth round, and I think it's a Canelo round again. To be honest, with you. Um, yeah, I don't know what Triple G needs to do, but
I'll say that's more. I'll say it's more balanced. It was more balanced.
you give
So,
it a 10-10?
yeah.
Okay, interesting. I've got Canelo up by 2.
So far, 6 rounds. I would have, as in, when I say 10-10, if it goes either way, I won't really be surprised, if that makes sense.
Fine, but like if you had to fall on one, because it's rare to give 10-10s. Like you usually as a judge, usually you're gonna fall on one person winning that round.
I think if they give it to Canelo because Canelo's aggression was there, then I would, okay. I would say, cool.
Yeah.
As in, sometimes it's not necessarily the punches you throw, it's what your body language says, like potentially can sway around in your favor.
Yes. No, I totally agree. And then judges are looking at all these things. In addition to obviously punches thrown and landed and all this kind of stuff, they're looking at who's the aggressor. We're in the second half of the fight now. Another 6 rounds to go if it does go the distance. And oh my god, okay, nice hook thrown by Canelo. Another hook there. I mean, every second punch by Canelo now is a power punch.
Yeah.
It's either an uppercut, it's either a hook, it's either overhand right. He looks comfortable in there.
Now he's dominating this fight. Now he's got the momentum. Now
Yeah.
Canelo is dominating this fight.
It's just the output as well is I just feel like his output is so much quicker and so much more frequent than Triple G.
He's a lot hungrier for this fight.
I wonder if that's the age thing again, or is Triple G waiting for the right time? Is he still? Because I feel like Triple G could do much more in terms of output.
He could, but I think Triple G is. I wouldn't say he's given up, but I don't think he's as hungry for it as the first 2 fights.
Interesting. Well, maybe he's hurt. I mean, he's getting hit with a lot of punches.
No, I think psychologically he knows he's like he can't really do this anymore. Maybe I
Damn.
don't,
Well, I mean, who knows? Maybe he's got some power punch in the back of his pocket that he's gonna pull out.
it'll be too late
Uh,
now. I think he needs to go for the
well,
knockout then
that's the
later on.
thing. Yeah, no, I agree. He needs a knockout. He needs a knockout.
I'm giving
I'm
this round to
watching this
Canelo.
fight now to see if
Yeah.
Triple G is gonna knock Canelo out because like his only option is to knock him out. Whereas Canelo, if he wants to, can fight defensively for the rest of the fight. He'll still win on points. Like he
The
doesn't have
judge,
to take these
it'll
risks,
be
but
a
he's
risk.
taking risks.
If what you said is true and Canelo does box defensively for the rest of this fight, it'll be a risk, a huge risk, but I think the judges will sway it in his favor. But Canelo has done that. Canelo took advantage of that, and he absolutely put his foot on the pedal and has absolutely dominated Triple G so far. He's controlled the fight.
Yeah.
So Triple G's best option is to just. Well, it's hard when you've been controlled for this long to suddenly go for the knockout.
Yeah. Although I mean, like, yeah, I agree. Canelo's leaving so many openings though. In that he's taking risks. So he's decided not to go down the careful route. He's taking risks.
Canelo's round.
Yeah, it's definitely Canelo's round.
Easy.
It'll be interesting to see if all this risk taking by Canelo, probably in the pursuit of scoring a knockout, because he probably wants a very fashionable, dramatic win. It'd be interesting to see if he exposes himself to something on the other side. But anyway, that was Canelo's round. So I got Canelo up by 3.
I have Canelo 1, 2, 3, 4. I have him by about 2 rounds.
Yeah, that makes sense.
About 2 rounds. Unofficial scorecards on the screen from your one. Copyright, can't see my iPhone. No, I have first 2 rounds Triple G, rounds 3, 4, 5 Canelo, round 6, sort of like that, and round 7 Canelo.
Yeah, I have the exact same, other than round 6, giving it to Canelo. Yeah. All right, round number 8 underway. I feel like someone's gonna get knocked down. I
don't see a knockdown happening. As in, the momentum isn't with Triple G, it's with Canelo, and even though Canelo doesn't have the strength, the power to rock Triple G, as in, enough for him to be knocked out.
So you changed your initial view, which was that you expected Triple G to get knocked down in this fight.
No, I wouldn't change it. Let me clarify, because perhaps I said 2 conflicting things. I don't think that there could be. Sorry, I don't think that there will be a knockdown. I think if there is a knockdown, most likely it will be Triple G, as in Triple G will be knocked down. Let me just clarify that.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay.
But even then, I don't think he's got enough to be knocked out or knocked down, for that matter. His chin is made of absolute granite.
Yeah,
I don't know how some people have chins like that, man. It's absolute crazy.
Some people just have they're just genetically blessed with significant bone density, apparently. I think Hagler or Hearns had one of those things. He was just like ridiculous bone density.
Joe Joyce, apparently he did a bone density test and he came like 5 or 6 times. It's
ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's why he can take so many punches. He's obviously so slow as well.
They call him the Juggernaut for a reason.
I know. I think that's why the Parker fight's going to be interesting to see. Both.
I think he will. I think he should beat Parker. He would. I mean, physically, he's bigger than Parker. I went to see one of my friends fight. I think in his second pro fight, he was on the undercard of Joe Joyce's fight. This was David Haysher at York Hall. So I saw that, and Joe Joyce was very slow, but he absolutely brutalized the guy. Like, he was picking apart for fun. He reminds me, and controversial as this sounds, of George Foreman, in that George Foreman was very, very slow. But
do go on. I'm just going to mute myself and stop my camera for a second. But go ahead.
No problem. But yeah, I think Joe Joyce is similar to George Foreman in the sense that, I mean, he's naturally, he's just a slow like he's not a fast fight. He's slow, but he's very powerful. He's got knockout power in either hand. Absolute, like, animal. Like, it's very difficult for you to knock him out, or for any fighter to knock him out. This round, in my opinion, I would say it would be difficult. Towards the end, probably I'll say Triple G started to turn it up on him. But I'll see what Mo says. I'd say overall maybe Canelo this one. Maybe. I mean, similar to round 6. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, similar to round 6. Maybe 10-10. Edge to Canelo. Golovkin too predictable. So far this fight, yes. Without a doubt. So this is the start of round 9. Entering the last third of the fight. So far they just... Oh my days. All the rounds to Canelo. Chris Mannix. What the hell? See, this is the problem with people in boxing. Like, how are you clearly favoring certain... Oh my days. You know, I'm just not going to speak in case I say something bad about him. Still Canelo. Still Canelo. He's doing what he's been doing all fight. Jabbing, hitting, throwing bunches, moving out the way, sucking up Triple G's punches. So the refs just separated them. Oh, nice bob by Canelo. Yes. Right cross by Canelo. Triple G tried to counter it, missed, but then Canelo missed. Oh, nice left hook by Triple G. I feel like past round, maybe 2 rounds, Triple G started to turn up to the fight, but it's a little too late now. It's a little too late, this one.
Right, cool. So I'm back.
Yeah, man. Golovkin now is starting to turn it up on Canelo.
Okay.
Now he's starting to turn up. Past maybe 2 rounds, Triple G started to turn up. You know, Chris Mannix.
A bit too late, but
Chris Mannix at the start of round 9, they had his scorecards of first 8 rounds. He's given all of them to Canelo.
All of them.
All of them to Canelo.
That's how I don't understand.
That's an absolute joke. That's an absolute embarrassment. I do not understand.
Every single
I think
round.
this one.
I'm sure Golovkin got at
This
least
one
2 rounds.
close, but I'd edge it to Golovkin in my opinion. 9.
Okay, fine. I'll from what I'd just seen, I'd give that to Golovkin as well, I guess. But I've got Canelo up by 3. 1, 2, and there's 3 rounds left. I mean, yeah. Let's see if Golovkin continues what he's just done, and if he can, basically, well, let's see if he can knock Canelo out, because he's not going to win otherwise.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see.
All that at the same time, I would not be surprised.
The real John Doe saying, "Well, that was a waste of my entire night staying up, not even watching the rest of the fight. Crap fight, off to bed." Fair dues. To be honest, like this is not as entertaining as the first or second fight, if I have to think about it.
Agreed. Agreed.
Um,
Although, to be
we're seeing
honest,
much of the same in some respects.
mm,
Basically, these two trading with each other. No one getting knocked down so far, and both of them landing some decent shots here and there. But it's like it's not. I don't know. Is it exciting?
no, it's nowhere near as the first two fights. Nowhere near. I mean, this is definitely Canelo's fight, without a doubt. But at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if they gave the decision to Golovkin. I mean, even though I know I said the judges will be favoring Canelo, but what I'm trying to say is, on the first fight, we saw Golovkin absolutely dominate Canelo, and Golovkin at that time was still a huge, very big name. So for them to rob Triple G in such a way, I could maybe it could be another flip sort of side where Canelo, who was dominant in the first in this fight, the decision goes against him. Could be a draw. Could be. I don't think they'll give him a loss. I think they, at worst, for Canelo, they'll give him a draw. At
Give him a
worst.
draw, yeah, which is what they did in the first fight. They always yeah. I mean, okay, I know we're saying a lot about judges being biased in favor of Canelo, but we can also say obviously Canelo's a great fighter, right?
Oh, of
Great
course.
fighter. So in a way, if he wins this fight on points, he deserves it, in my opinion.
Oh,
Because
yes,
he's
yeah.
winning on an
Without a
unofficial scorecard anyway. He's not
Without.
winning on the margins that Mannix is scoring this, but he's still winning it on points generally. No, I'm seeing a bit more urgency from Triple G here. I think Triple G knows he needs to knock this guy out in order to win this fight. I'm sure he knows this at this
It
point.
doesn't help
You
that
can see the
he's fine.
urgency.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, when we're seeing that Canelo's on the front foot, and I think Golovkin is just digging himself into a deeper hole, because not only are you on the back foot, you're behind on the scorecards as well. So it's not really, your prospects aren't really that high, aren't going to be that great, to be honest.
Yes, I agree. Things are not going particularly well for this Kazakh. Less than 50 seconds of this 10th round.
Half a minute
Can't believe
left.
it. Fight's nearly over, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Who would you give it to so far?
I'm leaning towards Triple G. He's landing some good shots, to be honest. He's, nice uppercut he threw earlier as well, and I don't think Canelo's tired, but he seems to be
More relaxed about it.
less output
Yeah,
in these
yeah.
rounds. Playing it slightly more safe, maybe, as well.
Yeah. For sure.
That's the end of that round. I mean, I'm gonna give it to Golovkin, but it could go either way that round. I've still got Canelo up by 2, which sounds weird because really I think Canelo's probably up by more, but I've got him up by 2.
I think Golovkin put more effort. He had more a great sense of urgency in this round, and I think Canelo wasn't as active, but he looked like he was commanding the round more so. From how it looked to me, he looked like, I mean, less output, but he looked like he was commanding the fight more so. He controlled the tempo of the fight.
So you're giving that round to him?
I don't know.
The weird thing is, if you don't give that round to him, you probably have Canelo then up by 1, which I just don't think is the case. I feel like even me, with Canelo being up by 2 on my scorecard, I can see Canelo being up by maybe 3, even at this point. Because what this would all mean is that if Golovkin wins the next round, it's close to a draw. You know
Now
what I mean?
Golovkin's urgency. Now Golovkin seems like he's on it.
Okay, let's see. He's got 2 rounds. He's got
These
2
are the
rounds to do
championship
this.
rounds.
Imagine we see some mad knockout in the last 2 rounds.
Yeah.
And none of this scorecard stuff means anything. I think they're both going for it.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, to be honest, yeah.
Oh, a bit of holding there by Golovkin. I don't know why. You see, this is what I wish I could see for several rounds, but we can only see in the last two. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
These two seem to be properly popping shots off.
Yeah, you know what? To be honest, I'm gonna give the last round to. Actually, no, it's difficult.
Oh, you mean the previous round? Yeah.
Yeah, I still think Triple G probably
Okay, interesting.
because he looked like he landed more. He had more of an urgency. He landed more, even though Canelo looked like he controlled the tempo. I think sounds conflicting. I know that probably doesn't make sense.
Well, I mean, if you have Triple G winning this round and the next round,
Yeah.
you might even have Triple G winning the fight on your unofficial scorecard. Do you know what I mean?
I think if that's the case, it'll be a robbery in this fight for Canelo. But if you look at the larger picture, or the bigger picture,
The bigger picture is that Canelo's won this fight, in my opinion.
yeah, as in so far, that's what I'm saying. If this ends up being a loss for Canelo, it's a robbery for Canelo. But if you look at the bigger picture, I think based on all three fights, Golovkin deserved the win. So I think in some ways he rightfully got the win, but not through the necessarily the right route, the right means.
Yeah, yeah. It's a real disappointment if and assuming that Golovkin loses this fight, which I think he's on track to lose this fight. He has no wins against Canelo, at least from an official point of view.
Oh, it looked like a headbutt.
Oh yeah, these two just had a little headbutt, didn't they?
Who would you give this to? I'll say Triple G maybe.
I'm leaning towards Triple G as well. Bit more activity, bit more accuracy. I still think it's a little too late.
Yeah.
But yes.
He's got a cut. Canelo's got a cut on his eye. Oh, just below his eye.
Who?
Canelo, look.
Oh yes,
right
I see
eye.
that now. Oh, okay. But that might have been due to the headbutt. If there was one. Nice uppercut there by Triple G.
I'd give this one to Triple G. Finally, he decides to turn up to the fight.
You know, if I give this to Triple G as well, I've only got Canelo up by 1.
So far, based on my score, because I've got Triple G up.
Sorry, what? Sorry.
But to be fair, there were 2 rounds where I said they were close, and I'd edge both of them to Canelo. So
Are you retrospectively changing your score?
No. Around 6 and 8, I would say they're quite equal, but I would edge them to Canelo. So if that's right, if round 6 and 8 were given to Canelo, I wouldn't be surprised.
Fine.
So I've got so let's count 6 and 8 around to be in favor of Canelo. I would have 3, 4, 5, 6, and 8 to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rounds to Canelo so far, and the 1, 2, 3, 4 to Triple G. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to Triple G.
Same.
So Canelo up by 1.
Yeah, same. I've got Canelo up by 1. So
Last round. Let's see what happens now.
I'm sure Mannix or whatever's got all rounds to Canelo. I will complete.
Mannix will probably give 20 rounds to Canelo. That's how ludicrous it will be.
Complete shutout. Unanimous decision. 120. 108.
Absolute joke. Yes.
Nice bit of hugging by Canelo right now.
Yeah, I think he knows he wants to hold on to him and just take away his momentum.
Frustrating.
He knows Triple G needs that, so he's just trying to destroy that momentum, kill the fight off. Again, smart decision.
Smart. I was about to say smart. He's doing it a lot though. It's actually, and things he can get away with it. It's the last round. Do you know what I mean? He's not going to get docked a point or anything, is he? And if he does get docked a point, it doesn't mean anything.
It's still a risk, even though, despite, I mean, we could say all we want about the judges and being in favor of Canelo, it's still a risk, huge risk. I mean, We saw this with Tyson Fury and Klitschko. I mean, Tyson Fury fought over there and he had a point
Yeah,
deducted, I think, in the 10th or 11th round. So it's very risky. And despite that, he still won. So it's it's always a risk. It's always a risk to get deducted a point, especially in such a hotly anticipated fight like this. This round, I'm edging it to Golovkin so far.
So, okay, interesting. Man, we may
I think he's been more
end up throwing
aggressive.
this as a draw, which is interesting.
A minute left.
This
Can,
is nice
can you
by
just think?
Golovkin.
Can you just picture what's going through their minds now? Like, oh, I'm so tired.
Hmm.
Canelo's thinking, I'm just so tired. Go away. Let me just see. 45 seconds left.
I mean, yeah, it's been an interesting fight. I wonder if the crowd are not. I don't think the crowd are entertained.
Are you not
I'm
entertained?
looking at the crowd. And they don't look entertained.
Yeah, that's
No one's
because there
standing
hasn't
up
been.
and going mad. You know what I mean? Like,
There haven't been fireworks this fight. There haven't been like wild exchanges where the crowd will go, oh, like we've
yeah,
seen.
come to the last 30 seconds of this fight. Interesting.
Yeah, now they're starting to turn up. Now they're starting to stand up.
Yeah, I see this as well. There you go. We ain't seen no knockdowns in this fight.
I'd probably give this one to Triple G, man. Okay, let me count. 1,
We
2,
scored this as a draw.
3, 4, 5, 6. I've got 6 to Triple G, confirmed. Confirmed 4 for Canelo, although the other 2 could be slightly in favor of him.
I think haters gonna tell us that these are ridiculous scorecards from on our end, but I think we both have it as a draw. Unofficial scorecard suggests a draw, but I mean, if I had to edge it, I would edge it to Canelo, right? As in, okay, we both have it as a draw, but if you had to pick a winner, who would your winner be? Honestly, my winner is
Canelo.
So
I'm
sure Canelo's won. Let's get the volume up so we can see the scorecard.
I think if that's the case, despite my scorecard, as in my scorecards, even though it's like it's balanced, I think that's just judging by round by round. However, the reason why I would, if I had to pick one, if I had to pick between just watching this whole fight, and I'd probably maybe pick Canelo, is because there are rounds in which he dominated Golovkin more than the rounds that Golovkin won. So the manner in which Canelo won those rounds convincingly was far more convincingly than the rounds that Golovkin won. So essentially, the rounds that Golovkin won were closely fought, and I'll say probably it's close, just about edge it. Whereas the rounds that Canelo won convincingly, it's like just shout, simple. He won hands down.
Yeah, I agree. That's a very good analysis.
So my scorecards may show a different side to it. If that makes sense.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So like the scorecards are not a reflection of they're not necessarily a full reflection of the ebb and flow of the fight. And in the majority of the ebb and flow, it was mainly in Canelo's favor.
Yeah.
But from a round by round analysis, it looks like it was closer to a draw.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. I agree. I mean, these unofficial scorecards, though, on their end.
If there is a madness, there is a win for Triple G or another draw. I see this going on for another. I see this saga extending.
Does anyone want to see
a nice jacket? It's that money again. Oh my gosh.
Does anyone want to see a fourth fight? I don't know. I mean, I don't want to see a fourth. All right, let's listen to this.
Be interesting, yeah.
116, 112. Yep. 115, 113. All in favor of
Canelo.
There you go.
I'm not surprised by that. I'm not surprised.
115, 113. Yeah, okay.
I'm not surprised by the decision that the judges gave, the official judges' scorecards. You see that mutual respect? I told you it's not a genuine hate.
Yeah.
They acknowledge each other.
I think this is the end of the. There's no fourth fight. I don't see the fourth fight happening.
Yeah,
I don't
neither
think
do I,
people
to
want
be
it.
honest. Neither do I. Neither do
This
I.
is the end. I think Golovkin knows he lost.
Yeah.
He doesn't seem particularly upset.
hmm
Um. So yeah, it makes sense. I mean, our unofficial scorecard. I mean, I Canelo won, obviously.
It's ironic. The T-Mobile Arena, they've got the UFC logo right at the top.
Oh yeah, that's funny. Why the hell do they have that? It's a bit silly.
Because I think the UFC sometimes use the stadium for their fights as
Yeah,
well.
but they should turn that off. In a way, they should
Like,
just turn
yeah.
the light off or something. But yeah, I mean, well deserved by Canelo there. He deserved to win that fight. Yeah, 116,
Yeah,
112,
I'm not
115 was
surprised.
like
Yeah.
keeping in mind that these judges are biased, right?
Yeah,
Not
that's
these
what I'm saying. I'm
specific
not
judges,
surprised by
but
the
that
scorecard.
judges generally are biased. So
Mhm.
then judges are likely to have the score off by, I don't know, 1 to 3 rounds.
No,
Right.
more than one round. For a fighter like Canelo, more than one round. I'd say, yeah,
So
three is more realistic.
How many rounds do you think a judge would give to Canelo? That is like basically based on favoritism. Like 1 round, 2 rounds, 3 rounds.
Overall, for the course of the fight, definitely not one round. At least 3 rounds. At least three rounds.
So then if we take 3 off and add 3 on, then we have Golovkin winning. Yeah, we have Golovkin on these judges' scorecards. If you were to switch it around, where Golovkin gets another 3 rounds, he wins another 3 rounds, then
Yeah.
he's apparently won on these scorecards, right?
Mhm.
But obviously we can't say that because it doesn't make sense necessarily. But in a way, what we're saying here is our score, our unofficial scorecard of a draw, seems to be probably what has just happened. I mean, if I could go back in time and change some of my scorecards, I'd give it maybe Canelo by 1. That's it. Canelo by 1.
Why'd you say that?
Because kind of like what we were discussing before, the ebb and flow of the fight, I do think, having watched the whole fight, even though on a round by round basis, we did score it round by round, but in terms of the whole fight as a package, Canelo just seemed to be better. Come out better. And you feel as if that should mean something. And that's why, if I had to see it in that way, I'd see that he just edged it, which is why I would see it as a +1, Canelo by 1 type of fight. That being said, at the same time, first fight they had, Triple G won.
Easy.
Right?
Easy. Even the second fight.
It was a draw. Second fight, fine. You mentioned that Triple G won there. This third fight, this is closer to what a draw should look like. As in, like, this, the first fight was not a draw. This fight is more like a draw than the first fight, basically, is what I'm saying. But it is what it is. Canelo obviously wins. We move on. And, it would be... What's next for Triple G,
I think Triple G is... I think he should just drop down to the middleweight and see out the rest of his days there, perhaps. Or unless he fights someone else who's within the super middleweight division, but not Canelo's sort of caliber. Maybe fight Carlos or Eubank or...
Yeah. Maybe it's maybe he should fight Eubank
or Saunders, to be fair. I think the Saunders fight will be interesting.
Well,
because Saunders is yet to come back. And I still think Saunders is still a big name within the middleweight division. So I think he could fight Golovkin. It'll be interesting to see how he fares. I mean, if they do fight, it'll be a few years too late, a couple of years too late.
Yeah.
But it will still be an interesting fight nevertheless.
I agree. Yeah, interesting fights to see Golovkin in would be seeing him fight, say, for example, Eubank or Saunders. These are interesting fights. That being said, I think he's past his prime, obviously.
Who? Golovkin?
Golovkin, he's past his prime.
Yeah. Oh, easy. I think if...
Go ahead.
No, carry on. No, carry on.
I was just gonna actually listen to this interview
Yeah.
Golovkin's having and just see what's he saying. I think he's just giving props to Canelo.
Yeah.
Interviewer asking what made this fight different to the first two.
No drama
Golovkin's
show. Little drama show.
He knows he lost. Is this rivalry settled? He gets asked. Golovkin's like, yeah. Fair. I think these two fighters never had bad blood, let's be honest.
Yeah, no, it doesn't make sense for them to have bad blood because they're too
They
polite.
just hyped it up. They hyped it up for the fight, you know.
Yeah.
There's
I
not
don't think.
going to be a Triple G Canelo 4. This is the end. This is the
Yeah,
end.
I agree. I don't think Golovkin's ever really had bad blood with anyone. Even Canelo never really had bad blood with anyone.
Yeah, I agree.
See, apart from Billy Joe Saunders, you see the mutual respect. That's not bad blood.
Mm.
They sparred with each other a lot, though. So I mean, in previous camps and training. Can you imagine all these gym stories? I'll be interested to know all these gym stories. What happened when they sparred? Who did what? Who did?
Yeah.
Because apparently, when Golovkin trains, he spars some heavyweights, and he hits harder than some of the heavyweights, and he's even knocked out one of the heavyweights.
Who?
Golovkin, when he sparred, when he was with Sanchez.
Oh, really? Wow.
He had a few heavyweights come in, and one of the heavyweights who was a sparring partner for him, he said that Golovkin hit harder than, I think it was like most of the big name heavyweights, like Povetkin or something like that. Like, he's very heavy handed.
It just shows you how good Canelo is, to be honest, as well. So props to Canelo. Obviously, you know, his previous fight before this one, he lost, but it's because he dares to be great, right? That's why he's trying to push for a light heavyweight fight against a really, really good light heavyweight contender who he fought, who was undefeated. You know what I mean? He's always pushing himself. He's obviously won in different weight classes. Very, very respectable.
Of course.
So I mean, we'll see what the fights are for Canelo here. But I don't know about Triple G, man. I think Triple G should have some. He's on the phone.
He's quick got the iPhone 14 pre-fight thing.
It's interesting. He's getting a call like straight after this fight.
Yeah,
it's quite funny. It's not standard, you know.
Yeah, you've never really seen.
I don't remember last time I've seen a fighter just get a phone call.
Yeah.
It's like properly ignoring everyone, just take his phone call. So maybe it's his family. Don't know.
Maybe his family.
I don't see his family around. Yeah. So no, interesting fight. Yeah, well done to Canelo. It's not a robbery. You know, Canelo deserved to win. Obviously, some scorecards were ridiculous, like the Manix's scorecard, or whatever, giving basically every single round to Canelo. Ridiculous.
Yeah, that's
closer fight.
Joke.
Yeah, closer fight than we had expected. Not the most entertaining fight ever that I've seen. I think this is the end of the Triple G Canelo fight trilogy saga, whatever. I'm glad it's happened. Like, I'm glad these two fighters fought. Like, because it's one of those things where you wish you would have seen these two fight, right? If they never fought. So that's great. And that's it, really. It's been an interesting night. I think it's time to go to bed or just get on with our mornings, depending on
For
what
sure,
we're
for
gonna
sure,
do.
for sure, for sure. Yeah, I'm gonna head up and sleep now. I had a strong espresso about 10, 15 minutes before this fight, so I don't know how I'm gonna sleep. Struggle for me, but I'll force myself to sleep.
Fair. All right. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in. We appreciate it. Please do hit the like button, and if you enjoyed this content, do subscribe. We really appreciate it. It helps the channel grow. We will be doing a lot more boxing live streams and just general boxing content, videos, interviews, etc. in the near future. And we'll catch you on the next one. Take care.